Welcome back to the Snap. Michael Heaver here, alongside, of course, my co-host Patrick O'Flynn. Patrick, first of all, how are you?
Yeah, good. Monday morning, long week ahead, but politics is still throwing up a lot of interesting stories, particularly something we've been following from the start, which is the gradual collapse of the Labour Party in the opinion polls.
Yeah, so this is really a landmark YouGov poll, which I think has gone a bit under the radar of some. Now, first of all, it shows the Conservatives on 46%, Labour down beneath 30 now on 28%. But Patrick, to me, the number that really stood out in this is the fact that the Conservatives now have a 36-point lead with working class voters over Labour. It's actually the second YouGov poll in a row now where an outright majority of working class Brits now intend to vote Conservative, a real sea change in British politics.
Yeah, and not only the Conservatives will obviously be delighted with that, 56% of working class voters intending to support them, an outright majority. But I think even more significantly, the Labour Party, the party set up to defend working class people and further their interests, is only getting the support of 20%, 1 in 5 working class voters. So if we're looking at what's going on in those red wall seats, there's the detail on it. There's the shift in culture, the whole generational change in who a big slug of the electorate is prepared to support.
Yeah, something else that stood out to me is when you break down the 2016 referendum voting intention, 76%, so 3/4 of Leavers now intending to vote Tory, as are 24%, a quarter of Remainers. Meanwhile, when you look at Labour, only 42% of Remainers and 10%, just 10% of Leavers now intending to vote for the Labour Party. And it's, as I've been saying, really, if the Conservatives can keep together that coalition of traditional base of Conservative support, Remainers and Leavers, plus the former UKIP support, plus Labour Leavers, then it just simply leaves Labour way behind. And you could see the Tories gain even more seats at the next general election.
Yeah, and I've done a sort of little bit of arithmetic on the right of centre vote, which is basically the Conservatives plus Reform UK. The Conservatives have a 95% share of that vote, a virtual monopoly. But if you look at the left of centre vote, which I'm counting as well as Labour, the Liberal Democrats, the Greens, SNP and Plaid, Labour only has a 56% share of the left of centre vote. So the Conservatives have put together this coalition. They're monopolising almost the right of centre vote. Labour can't compete under first past the post when you've got, the SNP doing so well in Scotland that it's getting a 5% vote share UK wide. There's a point for Plaid, and then the Liberal Democrats and the Greens both taking 8%. Labour can't hardly win anywhere apart from the inner cities and the university seats under that kind of split. And the one saving grace, I would say, for Labour is at the moment, the Greens and the Lib Dems are level pegging. I identify the Greens as a more dynamic threat to Labour. If you get a poll soon where the Greens are on 10 or 11 and Labour's only on 28, then I think there's a big signal goes out to a lot of left-wing, graduate, urban, younger voters that the Greens are a way to go. And then we'll find out what Labour's true floor, what the true core vote is, and it could be down towards 20%.
Now, we know that one of the issues that Labour have basically been completely tone deaf on is the issue of immigration, is the issue of open borders. Of course, one of the massive driving forces behind Brexit, behind taking back control of our borders. And today, Patrick, Priti Patel, the Home Secretary, of course, making a speech on just that. For those who haven't seen, what's the thrust?
Well, the big idea is this so-called digital borders. So there'll be an electronic record of people coming into the country and people leaving the country basically for the first time, which I guess will count as progress. But I would say that the message from Priti Patel is that she can't sort out the immigration system overnight, and it's an appeal for more time basically, but she says she will over time. Now, I think there's a big chunk of the electorate which is beginning to think the Tories are all talk and not enough action on immigration. You're going to have the cross-channel boats picking up again as we move into the summer months. We've got problems removing overstayers or people with no right to be in the country. We've got Boris Johnson arranging for Hong Kong Chinese holding British overseas national passports to have a full right into Britain. They're also doing deals with India for more immigration. So there's a big chunk of the electorate which would be up for a more migration skeptic offer from someone, but you're not getting that at all from Labour or anyone on the left. In fact, that they're lining up to make the immigration deportation services job more difficult and condemning, any action against to remove people who aren't allowed to be in the country. So Priti Patel and the Tories are getting a complete free run on this issue. And there's no way for anyone on the left, they're just not prepared to harness that vote, which is probably quite big in working class areas, that says, actually, we need a tougher immigration policy, not a softer one.
Now, I'm going to turn my attention to the issue of the BBC, of course, coming in for huge criticism recently. I've highlighted before, Patrick, when you look at the publicly available data out there on the licence fee, the clear majority of Brits now want to see an end to it. They think the BBC should be funded through either advertising or subscriptions. But a report out by MPs, the House of Commons Committee of Public Accounts, the BBC Strategic Financial Management Report, finding that the BBC, in their view, remain complacent and unconcerned. And that's even as licence fee sales have fallen by nearly 500,000, nearly 500,000 in just 2 years, a decline in overall licence fee income, the report finds, of £310 million between the years 2017, 2018 to 2019, 2020. Patrick, we've talked about it before. How much longer do you think the BBC licence fee can cling on for? And what do you think the future is for the BBC amid falling audiences, falling trust, and of course the introduction of alternatives such as GB News now?
Well, I think the BBC is trying to plug the gap by milking their foreign revenue streams. And they're also putting content which licence fee payers have paid for in the past onto this platform called BritBox, which you have to pay money in order to access. And I think philosophically, that's a controversial move to take that beyond the realm of free to view broadcasting. But I think complacency has been a watchword of the BBC for many years, and their whole attitude to the coverage of the EU and the Brexit story. They were completely late to it. They didn't see it coming. I think this is more close to home, and they're not seeing their own demise coming. I think the government will renew the licence fee again, but if they're going to do that, then I would suggest if we want more viewpoint diversity, that they should take a chunk of public service revenue from the licence fee and give it to GB News, because obviously there's a gap in the market for kind of non-ultra woke, non-left biased news, and it's a great addition that GB News is bringing to offer such an option. And why not? Why shouldn't they get a chunk of licence fee money if the BBC is going to continue to pump out biased left of centre stuff?
Well, of course, we here on The Snap are doing our best to provide you guys with a reality-based alternative compared to some of the woke nonsense out there. So make sure you have hit subscribe and the bell so you don't miss our next show. Myself and Patrick will be back soon with all the latest. Cheers, guys.
See you soon, guys.